your champion, the Blind Bandit!
Another day, another character ruined by an actor not understanding the character and not respecting them. Hey there everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to the video. So we recently got information on the casting choice for Toph in Season 2, or Book 2 of the live-action Avatar The Last Airbender TV show. And to say this is already problematic would be something of an understatement, because of course things had to go wrong. But to clarify, I don't think the casting is the problem. The woman portraying her seems to be talented enough and fits the look for Toph. Her appearance and skills as an actress are not my issue. I want that to be very clear from the jump. The problem is what she intends to do with the character of Toph. Also, if I use clips from the TV show too much, this video is going to be strike to the underworld. So I will be playing Hogwarts Legacy instead. See, I'm a Slytherin because I'm talking about an evil subject today. And the green is the color of Earth, so just go with it. Let me read you what was said in the article I just read. Speaking to the direct, Miya, I'm not going to try to pronounce that last part, who will portray fan-favorite character Toph Beifong in Season 2 of Netflix's live-action adaptation of Avatar The Last Airbender, explained the slightly different direction she is taking the role. Slightly, you say? Wait for this bombshell. My version of Toph is going to be a little older and slightly more feminine. I feel like I wanted to work into a very humanizing space for her because, you know, she was a cartoon. Cech explained. I'm assuming it's Cech, I'm not going to check. See? Nice joke. She also noted that she has met with original Toph voice actress Michaela Jill Murphy, with whom she shares a similar take in terms of process with regards to the character. What process are you talking about? She had no say in what the character turned into. She was given a script and just read it. Anyway, there is a lot to unpack here, but let's go point by point. The fact that Toph she is portraying will be older isn't much of an issue. Not to me anyway. In the original, all of them were children. Toph was 12 and so was Aang. Aging her a bit doesn't really change much unless they make her a full adult, because then the story will be noticeably different. Her character depends on her still being young and figuring out her own path, away from her family. Her very overbearing family, might I add.
Yes, I've let you have far too much freedom. From now on, you will be cared for and guarded 24 hours a day.
So all good on that front. The second part is where it gets problematic and why people on Twitter and the internet as a whole are in a bit of an unrest. Making Toph more feminine when she specifically, and I can't stress this enough, is not feminine in the original show. This is made very evident in the original show from the start, from her dressing style to her behavior, and when she joins them.
I'm just glad we finally have another girl in the group because you two are disgusting.
Excuse me, does anyone have a razor? Because I got some hairy pits.
This scene happens where Katara says she's happy there's another girl in the group. Then Toph makes it very clear she's actually on the boys' side by joining their dumb antics. See, the show doesn't beat around the bush with this detail. Toph isn't your typical girly girl. She's comfortable being in her own skin and doesn't care what anyone thinks about her. Not fully anyway. Because Toph was born blind, she never had to worry about being pretty or being feminine. She doesn't even know what that looks like.
Excuse me? I've got no manners? You're not exactly Lady Fancy Fingers.
She did say she has formal training in high society, but quickly points out that she, and I quote, chose to leave it.
I learned proper society behavior and chose to leave it. You never learned anything.
She knows who she is and just lives life that way. Here, listen to what she said.
One of the good things about being blind is that I don't have to waste my time worrying about appearances. I don't care what I look like. I'm not looking for anyone's approval. I know who I am.
There you go. Now, there's a few things you can get from that scene. Even though Toph says she doesn't care what others think, it's very clear that Toph was hurt by the girls that insulted her. But not for the reasons you are thinking of. The reason Toph was hurt by those idiots is because on the day she tried to actually be feminine, she got made fun of. Usually Toph just doesn't care. In fact, here, listen to this.
I'm ready.
You're not gonna wash up? You've got a little dirt on your... everywhere, actually.
You call it dirt. I call it a healthy coating of earth.
Toph was ready to leave that house with messy, puffed up hair, covered in dirt and dressed in what goes as, I assume those are PJs to her, but she was about to leave the house with them, so, well, there's widows that leave the house in PJs, so yeah, that tracks. More proof that Toph doesn't really give a Badgermole's tail about her looks. But let's look at the only other moment Toph actually behaved in a stereotypical feminine way.
Oh, Sokka, you saved me. Mwah.
Actually, it's me.
Oh, well, you can go ahead and let me drown now.
Yeah, that was about it, being the damsel for Sokka, who just turned out to be Suki instead. To be honest, I would want to be drowned too if I made that mistake. But you get my point. Depending on how feminine the actress wants to take Toph's character, she could end up not being the Toph we love and care for at all. Not like the live action hasn't pulled this crap before, but I will get to that as well. Now for the last bit of what the actress said. I feel like I wanted to work into a very humanizing space for her, because, you know, she was a cartoon. I don't mean to come off as mean or anything, but this is something that would come out of the mouth of someone who never understood Toph's character, because Toph is one of the most humane people in the entire series, quite literally the most grounded.
Tara does act motherly, but that's not always a bad thing. She's compassionate and kind, and she actually cares about me. You know, the real me.
How could someone watch this scene with Sokka and Toph and not see how human Toph is as a character? She displays genuine emotion, fears, worries, and the capacity to learn and change. A person who grew up sheltered her entire life, showed her parents who she truly was, and they rejected her, trying to take control of her life entirely, even more than they already did. She takes control of her destiny and runs away to not just be Aang's teacher, but to be free, a feeling she has craved for so long, with people who don't judge her but instead understand what she feels, which leads to conflicts within the group when Katara, the mother of the group, starts trying to take bits of her free choices away from her. But things end up working out and they talk through things, as friends should.
It's okay. I was really mad when you said that because maybe it's true. I try not to think about it, but when I left, I probably really hurt them.
Frankly, I could make an entire 1-hour video on Toph and her character, but I don't want to take up too much of your time today, so let's speed this up a bit. Toph gets to meet Iroh and they get along very well, giving each other good advice and wisdom. She then passes on that same wisdom to Zuko, helping him reunite with his uncle later.
All your uncle wanted was for you to find your own path and see the light. Now you're here with us. He'd be proud.
Speaking of which, Toph was also the very first person to attempt to make peace with Zuko, seeing the good in him before others even could. So when you say you want to humanize Toph, I'm left wondering, what exactly are you talking about? Do you mean you want to take away some of her more fun-loving aspects, or does that pair more into the whole making her feminine portion, which already doesn't make any sense? It sounds to me like the actress didn't actually audition to play the character of Toph. She auditioned to become Toph herself, not play the role, but to become the role and define what it means to be Toph herself, and to make her own twists to the character, which confuses me a lot because these days, it's like when an actor or actress gets a beloved character role. Their main focus isn't to present that character as they were, but to take liberties with the characterization and to just become the character themselves. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, but hey, that's the Rachel Ziegler effect for you. Get the role playing a loved character, change it to your own liking. To hell with the details, right? It's an absolute tragedy right there, but that's commonplace for the Netflix live action. Speaking of which, let's talk about that now, briefly. This video is already long enough. Toph's character wouldn't be the only one butchered here. They started with Sokka by taking away all of his misogynistic traits. Now, I'm not saying being a misogynist is good. I'm saying it was good for Sokka's character in the beginning. This allowed for that behavior to be beaten out of him, and for him to be humbled in the cartoon, to find out that the women he thought were only really good at cooking and sewing could do what he does and better by getting kidnapped by the Kyoshi warriors and finding out they were all women. Sokka's ego got tested, bruised in fact. A bunch of girls, no way they could beat him. So he goes to their dojo and they showed him what being humbled really looks like. He then reflects on his prejudiced views and returns, on his knees acknowledging his faults and asks to be trained by the warriors, understanding that gender roles aren't so black and white as he thought. This was immaculate character development, and it takes takes place barely a quarter into the first season in the animated version. It builds up his character so well and teaches him respect in a way that isn't condescending. But what I loved more is this scene right here.
There's no time to say goodbye.
What about I'm sorry?
For what?
I treated you like a girl when I should have treated you like a warrior.
I am a warrior. But I'm a girl, too.
Suki teaches him a final lesson. Women can be warriors, but they can be women too. They don't just have to be one thing. They can choose what they get to be. It doesn't have to be either or. It can simply be both. And that is okay. The show continues to show us this via many characters who get to choose who they get to be. I also wanted to cover Katara's changes, but I started getting really annoyed. I'm getting annoyed right now at how abrasive they made her when the original Katara just wasn't. Sure, she was hard-headed, but she certainly wasn't, well, this. It's like the live-action TV show is being written by the Ember Island players. Remember them? They exaggerated all the characters into such bad portrayals that it bordered on hilarity. A parody, basically. But this time, with the live action, they twisted it into ironic tragedy. It's kind of hilarious when you think about it. Okay, that's actually the end of the video, I promise this time. What do you guys think of the new developments we are getting about the live action Avatar? Do you think the actress is doing the right thing? What would you want to see in the upcoming season? Let me know down in the comments. And while you are still here, be sure to like and subscribe, as that greatly helps the channel. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Peace, my friend. Oh, for goodness sake, I forgot to play the intro somewhere.